So aside from Leicester City and Nottingham Forest, West Ham are the only team in the relegation fight that have decided to stick with their existing manager. And really, let's be honest, I'm assuming all this will go for all three teams that will stick with that manager until the end of the season. It's a massive gamble West Ham are taking here. Fans have been calling for a change for a long time throughout this campaign, well before the World Cup back in November, saying that it was a prime time to change manager. But David Sullivan has stuck with David Moyes. He still has faith in him and believes it's the best option. Now, that's still up for debate. And let's be honest, we're not going to know whether it's the right decision, Riley, until the end of the season. So it's all a little bit speculation. We don't know. But obviously, I want to talk to you about that, really, and get your feelings on that. What's your thoughts on this? Did you think that this is a stupid gamble to take, or can you understand why David Sullivan has decided to stick with Moyes?
No, I think the prime time of sack Moyes was around the Everton game. Even though we won the game, I think having Sean Dyche available was probably the. I mean, look, we've said it all season that Moyes should probably go, but I mean, look at the replacements that have come in. You know, Southampton sacked Hasenhüttl and got Nathan Jones in. Bournemouth sacked Scott Parker. They got O'Neill in. Leeds have sacked their manager. They're yet to find a replacement, I believe, unless they found someone else.
No, they have. Yeah, they have. Yeah. But I know what you mean. But no, I agree. The replacements haven't been great, have they?
Yeah, and Wolves. I mean, they're the only team you can say that have brought in a manager of a decent caliber that's actually come in and changed the entire sort of scenery around the club in Lopetegui. I mean, I think they should be fine now. I think they should stay up with him. So, I mean, you can say that, but you know, the teams that are below us have not necessarily gotten decent replacements in. It's a very tough market at the moment for a manager. Sometimes it is better just sticking with what you know. But it's such a fickle question, isn't it? Because how can you justify the sort of form we've been in all season? I mean, Palace have just gotten off a run of like 11 games without a win or something like that, and we're like 3 points behind them. So if that doesn't tell you how crap we are this season, I mean, nothing will. So I don't know. It's a very strange one. It's a massive, massive gamble. But I mean, we've seen what we can produce under Moyes. You'd kind of argue that if Moyes was available, maybe you'd bring him in to help us stay up. There's no real manager there that jumps out to you as he's going to keep you up, besides someone like Sean Dyche on a short-term basis. So yeah, I'm honestly not really sure if it's the right call or not. But for me, I probably would have liked to see Moyes gone this season in an ideal situation. I
agree. You can't. You're right. It's kind of futile talking about it in a sense, because you just don't know how it's going to pan out. I do agree as well that I think that Moyes should have gone at some point this season. I think for me it was before the World Cup. I think that was the perfect time. I think it was the signs weren't great then. And let's be honest, we've been down the bottom of the league all season. We haven't recovered. We started badly and we've just not got going at all. And we are where we are for a reason.
Yeah, but who would you have gotten in at the World Cup break to replace him? You say you wanted to get rid of him. Who would you have gotten in at that time?
To be honest with you, I wanted Scott Parker, and I know people will laugh and say, "Well, but he hasn't got the best track record." And let's be honest, he's since losing his job with Bournemouth, he's then gone away to continue to lose his job elsewhere. Is it Club Brugge? I think he was sacked by. So I understand the argument there, but I just think at the time, I think because of the fact he was a West Ham captain, the fans really took to him, and I just think he would have been a good appointment. That's who I kind of wanted at the time, just a bit younger. But I'm not saying it was a long-term appointment, someone that would have been with us the next 10 years. I just think it would have been a decent just for the season, just to breathe a bit of life into the side. I'm not saying it would have definitely worked, but that's what I was kind of hoping for. It's a real strange one, because you look at the other sides. I mean, you've touched on. I mean, all right, Wolves. Yeah, you're right. They have changed the manager, but I'd actually argue with that, because they've just come off the back of a very heavy defeat at home to Leeds. I'm not sure it is really working out very well. It's a really strange scenario we're in with the relegation battle, because it's so tight. And off air, we were just talking before we started recording regarding this and saying, well, there's no real team you can write off at the moment. There's no one team you can go, West Ham are definitely going to finish above them. I can't even say any one team for certain. I really can't. I'm struggling. I mean, the only one you might be able to lean towards is possibly Southampton, but they're still fighting. They are not out of this. They're not just waving a white flag and accepting defeat. I mean, the game we've got coming up against them in a couple of weeks is a cup final. I mean, West Ham just have to win that match. It's so important. If we lose that game, then genuinely, I think the feeling will be around the club that we really could get relegated this season. We could be odds on. I still think we will survive at the moment. I'm still got a bit of an air of confidence that we will get through it, only on the basis that I think that we can probably beat the teams around us. If we desperately need to, we've probably got enough to do it. But that's it. But one thing, that's my next thing to you, Riley. When you're looking at the other teams around us now, are there 3 worse teams than West Ham this season? Can you honestly say that you can pick out 3 teams you think we will finish above them? Is there any? Have you got 3 teams in mind?
Southampton and Bournemouth for me are down.
Okay.
I know they're still fighting. I know they're still picking up points here and there. But if you look at their fixture list, I think, it's a funny old season, isn't it? Because a lot of teams who shouldn't be picking up points are just picking up points. Apart from us, it honestly feels like the only team that doesn't turn up against the big 6. I think we've got a point against Tottenham and a point against Chelsea this season, and that's it. And you've got, teams coming out the gate. Everton picked up a point against Chelsea. I mean, how many weeks have we said that these teams just don't do us favours? And it's just so ridiculous. But if you look at it from trying to look at it from a logical point of view, if I'm thinking to myself, if I'm Moyes and I'm thinking to myself, how are we going to get out of this? I'd say, let's just win the games that we need to win the games of the teams around us. And we've got 5 games of teams around us in the bottom half of the table that we should be winning.
Yeah.
And if we win that, we'll be safe in the Premier League and we'll stay up. You then look at Bournemouth and Southampton, and they've got 3 games, that are fairly winnable. One of which is against us. So obviously, if we win that, that's 3 points we get. That's minus 3 they get. They're on 28 games played. For me, Southampton are down. Same with Bournemouth. I don't think they've got enough in the tank. Then for me, it's probably between Forest and Palace and Leeds. I think Everton will be fine this season. I think they've got a great manager. He's going to help them grind out the points. For me, you look at their position in the table, but I do think Wolves will be fine under Lopetegui. They've had a really, really good revival. I struggle to see how we're going to go down with this squad, but again, it's you're never too good to go down. But we've got 5 really winnable games that I think we should be able to. I mean, we've been okay at beating the teams around us this season. There's not been too many massive shocks. Leeds, I think for me, their home form are going to carry them through. So that's between Forest and Palace. And what Palace do next is going to define their season. If they get someone in like Hodgson, I think I don't see how that helps them stay up. I know you say bring him into the end of the season, he's going to keep you up, but I honestly don't know if I believe that. Forest do not score enough goals for me to stay in the Premier League. So for me, it's between Leicester. I mentioned Leicester, but I think Leicester will be fine as well. I think they.
Do you reckon? Yeah, because that was another one that we're going to do a separate video and talk about managers in a bit later. But yeah, that's another team that I surprised. I find they're falling under the radar a little bit. Leicester. I don't know why they're not getting the press. I mean, essentially, so West Ham really, we're sort of seem to be escaping it a little bit. No one's really taking it too seriously yet. But they're in big trouble, I think, Leicester. I mean, I know they picked up a point at the weekend, but they're in big trouble. Big trouble. But you're right. Like, you could probably group them with West Ham, that people are just saying, well, they've got the players there, though, just to get them over the line. They probably will just have enough quality just to get through it, get the points they desperately need, and that'll see them through. But bloody hell, mate.
I think if you're going to stay up in the Premier League, you have to score goals. It's as simple as that. And Forest do not score enough goals, not even at home. Palace do not score enough goals. But I think Leicester, for me, when they turn it on, they can score as many goals as they want to. And they've got too many big game-winning players like Maddison, Barnes, even Vardy. If he can turn it on when he needs to. So for me, I do think it is between Leeds, Forest, and Palace. If Palace can get,
you're saying Southampton, Bournemouth are gone. That's who you think they're going to go down. Then it'd be Leeds, Forest, and Palace. You think are the other 3 that are going to be battling for that third spot. I mean, this is what I'm liking doing these recordings now, because I'm the one going into this now feeling anxious and horrible. Then I speak to you, Riley. You just make me feel so much better. So as Riley is now confirmed, West Ham are definitely going to stay up, which is really great. Great to hear.
Yeah, I don't want to jinx it, but I mean, and this is the thing. I mean, we've got a game in hand, but it's against Man City, so you can basically say we're on 27 games played. We've got 11 left. We've got 5 incredibly winnable games. I'm not too bothered about the teams around us because, like I say, if we win those games, we'll stay in the Premier League. And there's, we've got Southampton still. That for me is like, once we win that game, Southampton are down and we're basically up in my eyes.
Really? So you think you think that the Southampton game, so if we win the Southampton game, you see us as pretty much not safe, but you think that gives us the air that we should be pretty much
I think
done.
we'd only need a couple more results to 100% stay up, but it's ridiculous. We could be 12th, in a couple of weeks, and still be only 4 points clear of the relegation zone.
Yeah,
or we could be in the relegation zone and 3 points away from third. It's such an odds. I cannot remember a season that's been like this ever. There's always been a Norwich or a Sheffield United or just some random team that just seems to crash out early. But I mean, any team could feasibly, Everton, West Ham, and Leicester could all go down this season. It's not ridiculous to suggest they couldn't. But
no, yeah.
If I'm trying to be logical and trying to be, a little bit positive, I'd probably say that Bournemouth, Southampton, and if I'm going to hedge my bets, I'd probably say Forest are going to go down this season.
Yeah, I'll tell you what. I don't actually. I'm with you on that as well. I think Southampton and Bournemouth, I would say, will go. I mean, as you say, the only issue is that they are fighting. That's it. And like you just alluded to, there is no one team you look at one and go, well, they're gone. I think that if Southampton lose to West Ham in a couple of weeks, that would probably knock their confidence massively because they'll be on 22 points. I think that'll put us on 27. I mean, and I think then if the other teams, as they keep doing, grabbing points here and there, I think that'll just pull Southampton away from it. Then they'll really start the gap will start forming, which is what we need. We need a team that's gone. And then I'm with you. I think Bournemouth, for me, I think Bournemouth have shown a lot of fight. I'm very impressed with them actually, how they're playing and conducting themselves. I like Gary O'Neill as well, but I just think they lack that probably bit of quality that they need just to keep getting over the line. They might that might just be what holds them back. But I'm not saying they're out at all. It's tricky. I mean, it's a really interesting one with Palace. I mean, we'll talk about a bit more about the manager situation, but I mean, we don't know as yet when we're recording this who they're going to be bringing in to replace Patrick Vieira, which, by the way, I think was a bit of a bizarre sacking. I'm not quite sure why they did that. I get that they're probably seeing some games coming up they can win, but I actually thought Vieira was doing a pretty good job at Palace, actually, because in the players, I don't think he was doing that bad. But there you go. The issue they've got, though, if they bring in Roy Hodgson, for me, don't get me wrong, he's an experienced guy, and he knows what he plays a very basic, bland, brand of football. But I think the problem is with him, the players know him. A lot of players that have been at Palace know who he is. He's worked with them, and he got sacked. So, do you really want to bring in a guy that got sacked? I don't know. I'm not sure what that does to the morale around the club. I'm not convinced that's a really good move for them. But I mean, whatever happens here, it is getting to that point where we've got to sort of will situations that go, that hope that they go wrong for other clubs now. So I'm hoping that they get a poor appointment, they get this wrong, because it is getting to that stage now. But there's no getting away from it, mate. Sullivan has taken a bloody big gamble this season to stick with Moyes. And the other thing is now, obviously, Southampton, mate. I mean, I can't think of a bigger game this season. It is just absolutely, there's no bigger game. We have got to win that game, haven't we, mate? It's got to happen.
It is a classic Mark Connell must-win game. I mean, that's probably your buzzword this bloody season, mate.
I know.
Unfortunately, you are 100% correct this time. It is Southampton's just a must-win. I can't imagine a scenario where we lose that game and stay up this season, to be honest with you.
I agree, mate. I think it's as big as that. It really is.